Let's talk about the new album.
Yes,
The production of Framework sounds better than In Progress.
thank you.
What did you change?
Actually, two things really. The first thing was what that the In Progress record was the sound, the mix and the mastering was too compressed. There were a lot of dynamics that got lost because of the recording was too compressed. So we didn't want it to be that compressed, and also we decided to do what we did on the first album, which is that we mixed everything ourselves. So we had total control over it.
So
Uh,
that's the reason, the main reasons why there is so difference between the two albums.
yeah, I would say that, and I should give our singer Lars credit because he's the guy who actually does the mixes. And of course, over the years, he has gotten better and better in doing it. But that is the two main reasons I would say.
Okay, good. Also, Framework has more catchy songs
Yes,
than in Progress. The guitars sounds more powerful. Don't you think so?
absolutely. And that the guitars, we had I did a lot of experimenting with the guitar sound,
Okay.
sending files to Lars, our singer, who was mixing it back and forth, trying to find a sound that we could use so you can hear the guitar very well, but they didn't like overshadow everything else in the mix. So you still can hear the keyboards. It's all about finding the right frequencies, finding the space in the mix where it really sits well. So we did a lot of experiment, much more than I've done in the past. That's one of the things that we wanted to achieve. And also, when I wrote the songs, I wanted to have, especially the choruses, I wanted them to be even more catchy than before, and more instant. That like you could remember the song right away after hearing it. So I'm happy that you feel the same way.
Okay. Let me know about the writing process. Who wrote
Yeah.
the songs? Is it a collective way of writing, or you just write yourself your songs? Tell me more about that.
Yeah. As far as songwriting goes, it's all me. Uh, and that's usually how we do it. I write the songs and I make a demo and I send it to the other guys, and then they can record the drums. Our drummer Herman has his own home studio, so he add the drums, and then also Lars has his studio where he add the vocals and later on mix. We send all the files in the end. We send them to Lars and he mixes everything. But as far as the writing goes, it's all me. And most of these songs are actually written in 2011, so they're almost
Oh,
3 years.
all songs.
Actually, while we were waiting for In Progress to get released, because we finished that record in 2010, gave it to the record company, and they sat on it for 1 year before they released it. And while we were waiting for In Progress to get released, I wrote most of these songs. Actually, so they're quite old already by now for us.
Okay, good. Why you have to wait 3 years to record the? Uh,
Yeah. Like I said, most of the songs were written already, and then Frontiers approached us and asked us if we wanted to do another record, and this was in the beginning of 2012. And we said, of course, we want to do another record, but I was busy with W.E.T, my
yes,
other
okay.
project,
Absolutely.
for the first part of 2012, and then we recorded most of this new record. We recorded most of Framework in 2012. And then in 2013, we were supposed to finish it and release it, but then our singer got ill.
Oh,
First he had some problem with his throat, so he couldn't really sing, because he was doing this Jesus Christ Superstar musical here in Stockholm, and when you're doing something like that, you have to sing like 3 or 4, even 5 days a week. And he catched a cold and had to sing even though he wasn't well in his throat, and after that he had some serious problems. But anyway, that went away, and then we played Firefest in 2013 in the autumn, and then he had he after the gig he became very ill in one of his ear. He got some ear infection, So he went to sleep right away, and then on the plane back to Stockholm after the day after the Firefest gig, he had to take some really strong painkillers because he had such a pain in one of his ear.
Okay.
So we went directly to the hospital, and they gave him antibiotics, but that didn't help, and eventually he almost got deaf on one ear.
So let's talk about the new album. We selected 3 songs.
Okay.
And we want to talk about those songs. The first one is Time Let Go.
Yes.
It reminds me those 80s movies soundtrack.
Absolutely.
And it has also an amazing guitar solo.
Thank you.
It's one of my favorites. Can you tell me more about that song?
Yeah, I think that actually was one of the first songs I wrote for this album. And I was trying to write something that I was thinking about having an opening track for an album. So I wanted it to be up tempo, and I wanted it to be really the chorus to be very, very catchy. So I think that song it's a typical work of art song, I would say. Like I mean, the tempo is there, there's a lot of energy, and also very melodic. I think it's actually one of my favorite. For a very long time, it was my absolute favorite on the record. Now the other songs have kind of catched up with me as well, but it's absolutely one of my favorite songs in the album. I think it's the best work of art.
And the guitar solo is
it was funny because we played it at Firefest last year, and I hadn't recorded any guitar solo yet. So I kind of had to make up something on the spot, more or less. Let's see if I can find something that I can play here. And I was like, oh, okay, that actually sounded quite good. I should keep that. So I redid the solo that I did on Firefest, more or less.
Good.
It's fun.
The second song is Shout Till You Wake Up.
Yeah.
Has a groovy guitar part inside.
Oh yeah, that song.
It sounds like Nuno Betancourt of Extreme.
Yeah, sure. I saw Extreme in London in June this year, and Nuno's playing better than ever. It's a very humbling experience to hear for a guitarist like me, to hear a guy like Nuno Betancourt. Like, okay, that's a real guitar player. I'm just trying. He is phenomenal. But anyway, that song is one of the 3 of the last songs that I wrote for this album, because we had, I mean, the first bunch of songs that I wrote, there were a couple of ballads, and we thought that we had to get rid of some of the ballads to keep the tempo up on the record. But also I wanted to have something that was a little bit different, that stood out a little bit, and that was a little bit more heavy, so to speak. So that's when I wrote Shout Till You Wake Up, that's one of my current favorite songs, I must say. I think it's a little bit different from what we have done in the past, but it's a very cool song thing. Also the instrumental section is kind of cool with all this stuff going on with the guitar and bass riffs and keyboard solo, and there's some odd meter stuff it's
a really good song.
I really like that track.
And we choose a track that is very different from the other tracks of the album, and it's My Waking Dream.
Oh, great!
My Waking Dream sounds like a progressive rock ballad. It's very interesting. It's not the usual ballad. It's different from the others.
It is, and actually the inspiration for that song came from me listening a lot to Keith Winger, you know, the singer in Winger.
Yes.
His first 2 solo albums he did. This Conversation Seems Like a Dream, and what the other one, the second one. But it was kind of inspired of those 2 albums, the verses, and then the choruses, it goes from going to being a little bit more moody, so the verses are a little bit more like they're a little bit moody, and then the chorus I think is it's a rather happy chorus, so to speak. And that was more inspired like song by Peter Gabriel, like In Your Eyes, something like that.
It's progressive.
Yeah, exactly, and also I think it's an interesting song. Like you say, it's not the typical power ballad, but I'm really proud of that song. I think it's also one of my favorites.
Tell me more about your favorite guitarists.
Well, of course, the LA guys like Steve Lukather or Michael Lando, Dan Huff of Giant, of course. It doesn't get much better than those guys. But also, I mean, when I started playing, it was in the 80s. It was in the heyday of this 80s instrumental Guitar Hero era, where I listened a lot to guitarists like Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Tony McAlpine, Nuno Bettencourt, of course, Van Halen, which probably was my first Guitar Hero. So that combined with the LA guys is probably what I've been listening most to. And of course, what you maybe don't hear in work arts music, but also I play a lot of fusion music, so I really like players like Scott Henderson, Mike Stern, John Scofield, Pat Metheny, those guys, and some of the newer jazz players, which are great, like Kurt Rosenwinkel and Jonathan Kreisberg. These are New York jazz guys, but they're great. These are the guitars I listen to today. But I kind of mix everything.
Mike Stern is a very good guy. I like.
Oh yeah.
I like a lot.
I used to worship him when I grew up. I learned so much from Mike Stern.
Absolutely.
I used to study all his solos and everything.
Is it difficult to manage the schedule of work of art and W.E.T?
No, actually, because we found this way. Like first we do a work of art album, so to speak. Then and then at the same time the clips guys are doing their thing, and then Jeff Cosodi is doing whatever he's doing. He's always doing things. But then we get to get into a W.E.T record, and once that is over, we go back to do our solo projects, so to speak. So it's going back and forth. So it's not really a problem. It's like we have timed it so well. So like,
and do you plan to tour with the work of art?
We have planned to play as much as we possibly can. If you do like a proper tour, I don't know if we have an audience that is that big, but certainly we're gonna try to play. There are a lot of things in the works, so to speak, but I haven't confirmed it yet, so I won't talk about gigs. But there will be a lot of playing, like later on this year, and especially next year. There are a lot of things happening.
Do you plan to come in France?
I hope so. But we haven't really found any good promoters. So if there's anyone out there, please reach out.
I take a look at the site, and I saw a video in Spain.
Oh yeah.
In the club you play in Madrid.
Yes, that was our first gig ever in 2012, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah. That was like, and of course we were really excited and also very nervous because we never played live before, so we didn't know if we could pull it off. But it went well.
It was your first gig live?
Yeah, ever.
Okay.
So we felt it was good to go for us Swedes. We felt good to go down to Spain. So if we totally messed up, then nobody here at home would know it. So kind of safe to go away for the first gig.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So thank you for all these answers. Hope you the best for the new album, and hope to see you in France soon.
I hope so too. Take care.
Thank you.
Hello everyone in France. This is Robert Zell from Work of Art, calling in from Sweden. We have a brand new album out with Work of Art called Framework, and I hope you're gonna like it. Rock on!